Welcome back, everyone.
What's going on? Hit it.
Hey, Nick, at the running back position, what's the plan to rotate those guys in training camp, and how much opportunity do they have to earn roles this summer?
Yeah, everybody has an opportunity to earn roles, and looking forward to watching that position group battle because there's a lot of good options there. And so they'll rotate throughout. You're going to see Boston in with the ones. You're going to see Kenny in with the ones. You're going to see Penny in with the ones. You're going to see DeAndre. You're going to see Trey Sermon in with the ones. You're going to see him in with the twos, and you're going to see him in with the threes. So there's no set with it because of the way they just all need to get reps, and we don't care where those are happening. They all need to get reps, and they all will get reps with different groups. I wouldn't look too much into who's with the ones, who's with the twos, who's with the threes, because they'll all be mixing in to make sure they're getting the reps. Right guard. We're going to start with Cam right there, but that's where we'll start today, and we'll see how that plays out. And then, we got some good options there as well. And so looking forward to see how that battle plays itself out as well. But Cam will start out there today.
Hey, how did the decision to sign Dennis Kelly, and Nick, where does he fit?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think obviously we have experience with Dennis. We drafted Dennis here in Philadelphia, and we know what kind of person he is. We know what kind of work ethic we have, and we know what kind of player he is still, just by watching his tape. Obviously, we followed his career for a long time, starting in college at Purdue, and we're always looking for offensive line depth. We're always looking for guys that can come in and have versatility and play a bunch of positions, and for us, it just made a lot of sense to bring him back, and excited that he's here.
Yeah, looking forward for him to add to our depth, and if he's one of the best five, he'll play.
Nick, looking at the training camp schedule this summer, you have fewer back-to-back days where you practice. What went into it? Obviously, last year you pared things down and it went well.
Just a little bit the way and we're still tweaking some things on that as well, but just that's a little bit fluid with the schedule. So I mean, there could be a time where we add one in there, but it was really how the way the preseason games fell at the end of the week is just why it kind of ended up that way.
First time there's been sort of significant change on your coaching staff. How's that process going, and what can you tell us about that sort of added layer with Matt and Marcus as senior assistants?
We think it's going really well. Obviously, it's not, offensively, it's a lot more simple, right? We're running the same offense we've been running for the last 2 years. It's just a different guy that's calling the plays. And when you look at how we game plan and all those different things, the only guy that's not in that room game planning that we were last year is Shane. But like I said, when we game plan, first everything has to come through me to game plan, right? First and foremost, and then from there, it's Kevin giving some ideas. It was Shane giving some ideas. It was Brian giving some ideas. It was Alex Tanny giving some ideas. So really, all that you've done is exchange Marcus, Brady, and Shane, and Marcus was really there at the end of the year as it was. Defense obviously is a little different. It's just getting on the same page as far as all my expectations for how I want to handle different situations and different things. But while also letting, Sean's the defensive coordinator. That's why we hired him to do that job. But it's just getting on the same page of the things that I do have expectations for as far as requirements of some different things for the defense staff, how we want some things to look and some situational things and otherwise. So that's just the reps, right? That's just reps going through it, and reps for coaches don't have to happen just on the field. They happen in the meeting room, and you can be a tireless worker in the meeting room and get on the same page that way. As far as Marcus, being as a senior assistant, again, with losing some guys on the staff, I think we felt that it could head that way last year. So we wanted to get guys in here that we knew were great coaches and to have in the pipeline. And that's the same thing, in case we lost the guy. And Marcus was able to step into Alex Tanny role, and Alex Tanny was able to step into Brian's role, and Brian was able to step into Shane's role. And so that's why you do that. And then with Coach Patricia, he's been an excellent resource for me. And you bring guys like that in to do that, just that, be resources for you, be resources for the defense coordinator. He's got a ton of experience. It's nice to have a former head coach on the staff that I'm able to bounce some things off of some different things. And like I said, awesome resource comes from so many good coaching, a great coaching tree. Always been fascinated by that coaching tree and how I can pick the brain of that, and so I can continue to get better as a coach, and ultimately us get better as a team.
Guys, for both of you guys, how deeply did you look, how from a personnel standpoint, and then from a coaching scheduling standpoint, at previous teams that had gotten to the Super Bowl and kind of avoiding whatever kind of letdown or runoff that a team might experience the following year?
I think every situation is different, and for our situation and the messaging that starts with coach is about this is a different year, and we got to do everything we possibly can to maximize this team, this moment. Whatever we've done in the past doesn't matter. It's what we do going forward. And so from, a roster building standpoint, from a personnel building standpoint, we can't just rely on what's happened to other teams who've lost the Super Bowl. We have to do what we think is in the best interest to reset, start over, and put us in the best possible position. And I think that's the mindset, and that's the mindset from our coaching staff, from our players, is that none of what we've done in the past matters. None of what anyone else has done in the past matters. We got to start from scratch and keep our process in place and give us the best possible opportunity to have a good season.
Howie, you're much healthier than you were 5 years ago, following 2017.
Me personally? No, thank you.
How did that affect
Like the jokes.
being healthier this time? How did that affect how you built the 90-man roster, and how does that affect how you look at the roster entering this training camp?
Yeah, I think for us, you're always trying to balance the short term and the long term, and I think learn also lessons from some of the things that you've done that have worked and that haven't worked. And I think for us, it's very important that we balance our team with younger players and also bring in guys here who have a history of being healthy. Health is a huge part of what we do. Obviously, we had tremendous success with that last year, but that doesn't guarantee any success this year. And so for us, when we're looking at guys and we're looking at the injury history, we know the best indicator of future success is the past. And so we're trying to balance that and make sure that we have great people in place on the performance staff, in the training room with our doctors, but also giving them a chance to be successful and bringing in the right people here.
Nick, to follow up on the Super Bowl question, you said, I saw you quoted somewhere, that you guys are looking into why it's hard for teams to get back. I know Howie talked about it, but is there anything analytically that falls into that problem?
So, you know the stats of it and everything like that. Let me make his first point perfectly clear. The goal right now, right this second, right now, is not to get back to the Super Bowl. That's not our goal right now. And I know everyone's be like, "Well, that's a crazy thing to say." Our goal is to get better today. Our goal, you can't win 2 games unless you win 1. So our goal is to get better today and to prep to get ready for our first game against New England. That's it, right? And we'll take those things day by day of how we do those, of how we go about our process. But you do want to look at why, right? And so you want to look at why. There's a lot of different analytical studies that you want to do, all right, to, why teams win first games, why teams win Thursday night games, why teams don't repeat success from coming back from the Super Bowl. So you look at some of the common denominators of some teams that have struggled coming out of winning or losing a Super Bowl, and you put those together, and you get answers, right? You get answers of what the common denominator, not maybe you don't get it always completely. This is exactly what it is, because it's never black and white. There's some gray to it. And so we have thoughts of, hey, these are things that why teams may take a step back after that based off of our studies there. But again, our goal and our mission right now is to go out there and crush this practice today and get ready to win 1 game so we can win the next.
Reasons?
Sure, yeah. I mean, then some of them is injuries. Some of them would be injuries as you look at it. Some of them's and whether that's to the offensive line or the quarterback. Some of them is an offensive decline. And there's many more, but those are a couple that stick out at the top of my head, Howard.
As a follow-up to the health, is anyone anyone starting this week can on the pup list? And where's Derek Barnett?
We're gonna get you that list here, and you'll have that here in a little bit. So I'll let Bob. Right, Bob. That's what we were gonna do. Yeah.
Just listen a little bit. Breaking news.
Yeah, everybody did a great job. Guys came back in phenomenal shape. It was really exciting yesterday. You know, through the intermittent rain that was happening, kind of had to adjust our schedules. But that's what we do. You got to adjust different things. But it was great watching the guys run yesterday and just see how much they worked at bringing their bodies back in shape. And we'll continue, and we'll do a lot with conditioning here in our camp with different things that we're doing. We know how important it is that if you're a 4.6 guy, you're a 4.6 guy all game, not just 4.6 guy, and then you go to a 4.7 guy and 4.8 guy. So we're going to work our butts off to make sure that the shape that they came back in only continues to develop, and that's our job as coaches, strength coaches, and as a staff.
At defensive tackle, you have Fletch, and then you have a lot of really young guys that you've invested a lot of high draft capital in. That's a position that tends to take a little while for those guys to get like their sea legs and become great players. First of all, I guess this question for both of you: why is that? And then also, what are you expecting from those young guys in that spot?
I think any position there's a learning curve to coming into the NFL, right? It's a completely different game than college football, and so there's any position is going to have a major learning curve and that's our job as coaches to try to make that as fast as possible, right? And get the guys ready to play as fast as possible. But any position has a major curve in learning.
Well, D tackle a little more than the others, all right?
If you say so.
Hey, Howie, Deion Kane's a pretty interesting story. What did you see? I mean, he's been here before. Deion Kane.
Okay.
What did you see from him in the USFL that wanted bringing him back?
Yeah, he continued to grow with his opportunity. He had an opportunity to be featured a little bit more than he had been in the NFL. When Coach came from Indianapolis, he had told us about kind of his work ethic and who the guy was. And when we had an opportunity to bring him here, we saw that last year. He had a good preseason, and he kind of built upon that preseason and put himself in an opportunity to come here and continue to get better. And looking forward to seeing him.
How the biggest debate in the league is the state running back roster, or I guess the position. You haven't really given multi-year deals, second contracts to that. How do you view that position in the league going forward?
Yeah, I would probably say it a little bit differently, Zach. We've taken, I think in the last 10 years we've taken. We took LaShawn before that 10-year period, but we gave LaShawn a second contract in that situation. Obviously, Miles was a great player for us. Miss him, wish him the best in Carolina. For where we were this year, we had to make some hard decisions. That was one of them. So I don't know that we've necessarily been in that situation. I don't know that we want to make any absolutes on anything. And we're looking for really good players. We're trying to keep the guys that we draft for as long as possible. I think the way that we look at our running back room, it just worked out that these guys are, a lot of them, on one-year deals. But we value the running back position. Really excited about the guys that we have here, and I don't think that for us, we would be against signing running backs to long-term deals in that situation, and we have those conversations. It's hard for us to let Miles go. So I think it's all individual, it's all team-based, and obviously here with the amount of guys who are on long-term contracts, we have to make some hard decisions.
On the roster, Howie, what did you see last year? What did you learn about Nakobe Dean that made you comfortable with him as a top guy in the middle?
I think what we learned from Nakobe was the same thing that we saw in college, the same reason that made him such a highly recruited guy coming out of high school. I mean, the guy has a tremendous passion, tremendous love for the game, tremendous work ethic. He was around the ball in every opportunity he had. I think both of our off-ball linebackers last year played really well, and it's a credit to them and how well they played. And when guys are playing really well, Coach will say all the time, you don't make change just for change's sake. And so I don't think it was anything that Nakobe did as opposed to kind of what those guys were doing. And we have high expectations for Nakobe, but no higher than the expectations he has for himself.
Currently entering year 4 and coming off a franchise extension, has the conversation about protecting himself and what you'll do to protect him, is that any different than it has been before?
Every time we run him, it's always about protecting him, and it didn't matter if he had throwing for 0 yards or the amount of yards he had right now. That's just what always been our thought process and our process of how we run the quarterback, how we want him to protect himself. So, we still talk about it. We talked about it, but it would have been malpractice on my part if I didn't do that when he was, the starter, going into the 2021 season. So we like to look at our process and everything that we do, and not just be reactionary to Jalen's making a lot of money, and I'm sure that, but we feel like we've been doing that the past 2 years of protecting him and him knowing how to protect himself, so he is able to play the majority of the season. Like, we didn't go into the 21 season like, well, if he gets hurt, whatever. Right? We had the same conversations we're having today back then. So the process hasn't changed all that much as far as how we tell Jalen to protect himself and how we call plays to make sure we don't put him at risk.
How important was to kind of keep the continuity around Jalen, pretty much the same receivers, running backs, tight ends, especially coming off the season he just had?
Well, I think it was important for us when with AJ and with Dallas to get those guys signed long term, and I don't necessarily know that it was by design that we didn't add a ton of guys at those positions, other than we have a lot of faith in the people who are here. And so we feel like all those guys are ready to take the next step. They had good springs. They came back in great shape. I'd say there's probably a lot of more turnaround at the running back position, and that was because of the opportunities we had to add those players. We're excited about seeing those guys as well. And, we're always trying to improve the team. We'll continue to try and improve the team today, just like Nick talks about, for his team and for his process. Every day we're talking about who's out there. We're seeing if there's ways to improve the team, and we'll continue to do that till we can't really do that anymore, which is, theoretically at the trade deadline.
Got time for 2 more?
We got a lot of young players at that position. We're excited to see those guys, evaluate them on a daily basis. And again, like anything, we'll keep our options open. We're never going to close the door on an opportunity to improve our team. So we'll constantly be looking at that position and every position.
Is there something that you've learned about this rookie class that you've seen through this all season that you can say kind of surprised you guys for what you guys saw on tape and your background?
I think once you start putting the pads on and getting into this portion of it, then that will continue to tell the story. I don't think we're there yet to make any statements on as far as those. We love the guys that we drafted because we did a lot of work to get the right type of guys, and we know what they got, the right stuff inside of them that that they're working their butts off to get better every day. They assimilate them well with the rest of the team, and we're excited to go out there and continue to get them better and develop them.
I would say the only thing I'd add to that is just like sometimes you see it's big for them in the spring, in the summer, that the transition, it's going to take them a little bit. And I think all those guys have come in with a tremendous mindset. Coach hit on the conditioning test yesterday, the kind of shape they've been in and the position they've put themselves to start training camp the right way, and understanding it's a long season ahead.
All right.
Thank you.
Folks.